How have you been impacted by your community?
Impacted by my community, one thing my community probably taught me is how to be alert and just be aware of my surroundings. Because we live in a big city, like Chicago, you have to be aware of your surroundings and just be a fast-paced up person, you know.
How would your life be different if you lived in a different city or community?
I don't think my life would be different. Well, you know what? Maybe if I stay south, maybe it'll be a little slower. I believe that the South is a little slower paced than Chicago. So I like Chicago. I don't think my life will be different. We have so many opportunities here in Chicago. That's why we should, actually stay. I don't think me moving to a different city would. It probably will slow me down, if anything. I think Chicago keeps me up on my feet, my toes.
If you could change anything about your community, what would it be and why?
I would change a lot of things about the youth and bring more youth programs and to our community, because when you start at the bottom with the violence situation and everything and giving these kids goals, then they become better adults, So I think I will have to have more stuff for the youth as far as at their schools, bringing back a lot of programs at their schools, music programs, gym every day. We have a health epidemic in our community. A lot of overweight kids.
How do you think your community is viewed by others and why?
I think the Inglewood community and the Southeast Side community is viewed bad by the rest of Chicago. And that's because of the violence and our youth acting like they have no authority, which they don't. Some of them don't. But a lot of them come from good homes and they're just acting wild. So they're showing the rest of Chicago and the rest of the world that they have no authority. They just don't have any goals. There's no future with these kids. They don't care what happens to them.
If you think this view is wrong or unfair, is there a way to change how your community is viewed by others?
It's only unfair if you're not showing them that particular way. Our youth needs to, we as parents and stuff, we have to bring it back to our youth. I mean, we have to put more authority and pay more attention and get more involved with our youth.
Okay. How does the issues of violence in Chicago compare to other major cities?
Chicago is being put under a magnifying glass, probably because we are the third largest city. But if you compare the statistics to someplace like Memphis, their murder rate is actually higher than ours, but they're smaller than us. So people don't look at Memphis as being a murder capital, but they look at Chicago as being a murder capital. And it's just, I think we're just being picked out like we have a problem. You all have a problem. We're not the only city or only town in the U.S. with this problem, with this violent problem. The gun laws in Chicago, in Illinois, needs to change.
What are the top 3 issues or concerns that you would like to address and start a dialogue with your community about?
One of the most things I would like to address with my community is getting in shape, getting healthier, because we're just getting sicker and sicker, younger and younger. Some of my patients are 30, 40, 50 years old. There's dialysis centers, new dialysis centers popping up in my community everywhere. And that just shows you that we're getting sicker and sicker. We're doing something wrong. Our children, when I was a kid, I'm going to be honest, when I was a kid, there may have been one, maybe 2 overweight kids in your classroom. Now it's half of the classroom. that's overweight. We're feeding our children the wrong stuff. We're not getting them to exercise, and we're not putting programs into their schools to make them, to jumpstart these kids to be, productive adults.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what's another thing you'll change?
Another thing that I'll change about my neighborhood, it wouldn't be about the neighborhood. It just would be about Illinois and them changing their gun laws. We need to outlaw assault weapons. We need to outlaw handguns.
Mm-hmm.
And that's they need. If once they change that, I think my community can change and bring more. When I was younger, we had programs like Career Beginnings, Jobs for Youth. These children have none of these programs anymore that's helping them. You have to be a good kid to get a summer job now. Back then, you could be an average kid and get a summer job. I'm saying average with your grades and things, and still get a summer job. When all these things are being taken away from these kids and they just don't see any hope, don't see any light from the tunnel, then they're not expecting anything, and a person that don't expect anything from life will take yours.
If you're in charge of the media, what would you show, and what would you do to change the perception of how people view you and your community?
The only way we're going to change the perception is if we do better. As a community, we have to show everyone that we can do better than this. We are not animals. We are not, we can be productive people. We need to get more involved in our community with our children. Mm-hmm. We need to bring more responsibility to the parents when our children are out here doing things that they don't supposed to be doing. If they bring more responsibility to the parents, then some of this stuff gonna stop. Because half of the parents don't even know what their children doing. So if they're getting fined for their children going downtown and loitering or, being destructive. If your parent is getting fined, then guess what? That child may stop doing what they're doing,
So would you show, the destruction and stuff on the news?
Yes. I would, because that's what's going on. But with the media, the thing that I'll change with the media is, with some of these unsolved murders or shootings, what are they doing? We need a replay back, or what are they doing to solve the murder, or what happened after? Was the murderer caught? We don't know anything about. We just hear all these stories, and then people just getting killed. We don't know what's happening afterwards, though. So I think I'll change that. Well, the media can only show what we give them, and we as a community have to stop giving them bad things about us, because that's not us. That's not most of us. Mm-hmm. That's not most of us, and it's embarrassing. It's shameful that my community is out here acting like they have no sense and no goals. But you know what? The only way that that's gonna change is if us, the parents, are really involved. You have to be involved in your kids. You have to be involved in what they eat, how they exercise out here, how they move as an adult. If you want a productive adult, you gotta start them as babies.
How do you see Chicago in the future?
I see Chicago as the possibility that it's always is. You gotta take it for. If you're gonna make it better, be a better person. That's the only way Chicago is gonna be better. Chicago is already pretty. It's already got plenty of schools, plenty of opportunities. Are we gonna take advantage of them? Are we gonna stop being destructive individuals and take advantage of all the opportunities that's around you? Because we have opportunities. If you go down south in some of these little towns, they don't have 3 and 4 universities. All these big stuff that we have. We have so many opportunities here in Chicago. All you have to do is take advantage of them and get serious and get focused. Stop being destructive with your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mama.